All right, guys, let's get into it. Sunday night, let's prep for the week. Let's look at Apple. Apple on the 1 day, we can see Apple went to 173.7 and then made that drastic pullback. Not too much though. 173 back down to 170. If you look at the top of the screen, you can see the 2% pullback, so not terrible. And what I like about it, it's making higher highs. It's higher than this 168 here, or 169, let's say. And now it is pulled back to 170. So Apple needs to hold this 170 level to prove that it can actually stay here. Then you're going to get some buyers that start to feel confident, because it is clear that Apple is holding on to that 170 level, because after that, if Apple keeps selling off, it's going to potentially sell off into 165 range. So we need to see it hold this range right here for a further move back up. Because let's look at the 1 month. You can see we went a low as 167.59. But when you go back on the 1 year chart, everybody that reads charts can see that we have potentially more downside. But right here is your level of support, which is 165. I'm trying to, so you can see it, 165.24. That is the level that you need to watch. So we need to see, is it going to get a retest to the 166 again and start selling off? Because as you look here, there was minimal buyers right here. Look at this candle, very thin, minimal buyers from 173 to 171. So we do have to see how this plays out, but don't forget the bigger picture here of Apple trading in this trend line. It can still have more downside, and a better entry would be breaking that 165, selling off down and getting in around 150 to 155. The reason I'm saying that level is, let me draw you a rectangle so you can see. In this zone right here, and let me just get rid of all of this so it's not confusing for you guys. If you look right here, we break this level at 165. Apple makes a new low coming right here from, let's say, 168 all the way down to 155. That's an 8% decrease. And then you go into this zone because you have resistance here, then turn into support here, and there's the support right here. I'm sorry, resistance right here at 155, resistance. This will come into play. Plus a psychological level of 150 for Apple is absolutely going to be an easy scalp play. So I would definitely be watching that, and don't be too aggressive. Just keep in mind where the trend is going. The trend is going down right now. We are making newer lows. We went from 200 all the way down to 170, but that's enough about Apple. Let's move forward. Next, let's talk about Nvidia. When you look at Nvidia, and everybody always leaves a comment, Nvidia. So definitely leave a comment if you don't like the way I say it. Totally fine with me. It makes me laugh reading that comment. But as you can see, it was trading in this range right here. There's a big trend. But as you can see, look at that top bar that it just hit. It has traded all the way up to this piece. Not many buyers from the 880 to 974. If you took profits up here, congratulations. That's excellent. You're at an RSI of 89. I mean, it can't be any more clearer than that just looking at the 5-year chart. I mean, look at this chart. It's ridiculous. So anyways, how do you actually trade this? Nvidia. If you are looking to get in a trade, for me, it is just way too overbought. I can't buy shares of this unless we go back down below 700. 700, the reason I say that is because when I zoom out completely, this is a dollar cost average strategy. You know, even if you buy at 700, it's tough. You really want to get down here in the 500s. You want this to get cut by 50%. But we're going to need something really bad to happen, because just that move alone of going from 974, these moves can be really nasty. I mean, 974, let me just move it over again because it didn't show the percentage. 974 all the way down to 860, that's 11% drop. If you bought in there, it's tough. You know, it's really tough. It's a tough move. It was trading out of this trading range, and now it's going back into it. So if you get any range back to 800, you could potentially try to take that trade. But I'm not looking at Nvidia as a short-term trade. It would have to be a long-term trade for me, because I wanted to eventually get into semiconductors. But the bull move happened. You know, I got it in some of my ETFs and stuff. But if you're going to trade Nvidia alone, you need a drastic pullback. We need a massive pullback. We need 875 to break. We need to go lower. We got to get back down to like 700, come back 20%. Then we can start talking about dollar cost averaging in it. Right now, you're just chasing it if you're trying to get into this. Next, let's talk about Meta. Meta is on the way to the moon. It is trading above this trend line. As you can see, Meta is trading in this trend line here. It's been going up. It's been trading in the upper half and then the lower half, then crushed earnings. And now here we are. So if you are looking to potentially play this, you can trade the upper of this channel. Just follow strict stop loss, follow 490. If it wants to make that break and retest where we pull back to about like 490, about 2-3%, and then try to make that move coming back up, back to retest the highs of 523. I could see that playing out as well. Just to give you more perspective on the 3-month channel, you can see we are trending up, but just make sure you are following this channel that is showing. It does look nice. It is forming very nicely. You are trading in this range, but you have to pull your stop loss if you break. I would start with 490, and then if you keep coming back down, 450 is your absolute stop loss. So you definitely have room with that to play. Next, Google, one of my favorite stocks. It's in a downtrend, and there's no doubt about it. If you're looking at it here, it is trading in this channel right here, and it is doing nothing but hitting this and coming down. So we have to see if Google can maintain its footing. You look at it on the 1-year chart, and this looks really messy. Let me just clear this up for you really quick. So you had this trend going up this way, but now you are trending this way here. Minimal buyers from 135 up to 137. It's got to break through this trend line to actually make a difference here. And overall, it's bearish. Until Google can get above 138 and hold, I'm not really a buyer here because we need to see Google go from 138, get up here, and then it needs to hold this line, and then it needs to bounce back up. And that's what's going to happen. You're going to have resistance in this area right at 138, as you can see right here and right here, because you have support right here, then it broke it, and it turned into resistance around 138, and there it is right there again. So you are going to have short sellers coming in, especially at that 138 to 140 level, and they are going to be shorting it like crazy. Until you can get them to stop out, Google's going to be in this downtrend. So definitely just be wary of that and be careful. Tesla, looking at Tesla next. Tesla's another one that you have to be very careful of. This stock had a nasty sell-off. It's not normal for a stock to do this. If you look at this activity, 205. This looks like a massive seller. You have this massive sell-off from 205 all the way down to 172. That's a 15%. It makes me wonder if Elon Musk or some bigger guy, some bigger whale is selling here. We are definitely in a downtrend. Just look at the 5-year chart. It has done nothing but stay in this wedge. And I thought that there was a potential opportunity right here in this flag. We had this run up here. I thought there was a potential opportunity here to then break out for the upside, but it did not do that. Now it is showing that it is bearish. And obviously I could be wrong. I'm just a YouTuber, but for me, I'm going to try to be safer. I want to take a long position on Tesla, but not yet. I need to show that it has some balance here. Right now, this support level here at the 270, it looks like it's going to crack. And if it does, I think we're going to get a move, hopefully down to, sounds crazy to say, but hopefully down to 130s, which is a 27% discount rate. So if we go to 130, we go down to that 30, we go down to 20% from here. That would be amazing. I would love to take a long in Tesla, but I'm not going to buy at 170, not knowing if this is a support level or not. Next up, I just want to bring up, this is a random one, but I want to bring up PayPal. I think PayPal is worth mentioning. I mean, you just look at the 5-year chart on it. It has been nothing but pumped during COVID. 310, it pulled all the way back. And this is a company that I always ask myself, am I going to buy this long term or am I not? But it's just hard for me when I look at Visa and MasterCard and all those guys, because it's pulled back so much to $59. It's at 80% in the red. It's not like they're not making money. They actually make money on their earnings. They're a company that is profitable. So I definitely am curious about taking a position on them, but it's got to be a very long-term outlook because it is clearly just selling off. Started at $30, and here we are. We're only at $59 now from $310. So it is a company that I don't know if I'm going to regret in the future if I don't buy. So I might buy some shares, but this would be like a minimal, like 0.5% of the portfolio. Nothing crazy, but it's definitely something I'm looking at. I want to see if it's going to break this 57 and then make its way back down to 50. And I'll probably try to buy this double bottom here at $50 to $53 and try to dollar cost average into a long-term position. Next, we have TSM. Now the semiconductors, you just got to be careful because you saw that on the 5-day. You can see that they had their move, but then they died because Nvidia went all the way up to that almost 1,000 and then sold off. Same with, they're all going to do the same thing if one sells off. So TSM sold off from 158 to 144. Just be very careful. Hopefully you can get a cheaper buy. And you could always trade it like this. If you think stocks like Nvidia are going to be a good, trade to make. So, you think, okay, Nvidia, let's see here. We're going to buy it at let's just say worst case scenario goes down to, 730. You can look for other companies like TSM because they're going to trade together. If one's doing well, the other's going to do well. That's just how these stocks are going to play out, especially with the AI craze. And then the semiconductors, same thing, same principle. So TSM, I'm waiting, being patient. I need to pull back. I need to pull back all the way to 135. I see this area here. And I see this support here and this support here. I need like 135. I'm going to actually take a long position on this. That would be something that I'm looking at. And then looking at the overall QQQ, which I think we should have did that in the beginning, but I didn't. But I think some people just want to see the overall stocks. I mean, just look at QQQ over the long term. You have this channel here, and I'm using Webull. So if you click on here and then you go on trend channel, all you have to do is you click on the bottom of the channel, bring it up, and it creates the trend channel for you. So that's kind of a cool little feature that it does. We're trading at the tippy top, but as you can see, this is the highest QQQ's ever been. So the highs can keep getting higher, and who knows how long it's going to go. Nobody can predict that, but at the end of the day, we are starting to see some red, and you are starting to see that doji candle where it almost looks like this is like a powerful red candle here from 448 down to 439. There's definitely some selling pressure going on, and the shorts would definitely love to take this back. And this brings me QQQ. I mean, as long as it's going to hold 400, I would just stay bullish. I wouldn't even worry about it. The last thing I want to show you is just SQQQ. This is shorting the market. I don't blame anybody if they want to take a position in the short market. I mean, you had $10 almost. But just remember that your SQQQ position does decay over time. So this is definitely something that you can consider. But you really got to time the market correctly because you're gonna get decay issue. Look at the 5 years. I mean, it just sells off over time. And if you can time the crashes, which a lot of people can't, that's how you can make insane money. But I'm not against, taking a potential position, as a backup. You want to put like 5% of the portfolio, shorting it, and then go for that angle. I understand that perspective. But just looking at SQQQ and shorting the market, you just got to be very careful, follow stop loss, because QQQ and the NASDAQ can keep running higher, and then it chops you out. Because anytime, if you were to buy SQQQ, you would have had to time these markets from 13 to 14. It's only a point spread. It's not much. 11 to 12. And it depends what type of trader you are. If you're trading for percentages, I mean, 10% is nice. But you really got to be very disciplined and follow your stop loss and maybe keep a 3% stop loss and try to get 6% when you trade these triple leverage funds. All right, so that's all I have for you guys. If you like what you see, subscribe, leave a comment, and tell me what you're trading. Tell me what interests you. I definitely like looking up the stocks that you guys have mentioned.